Hey world, Will White here, Pike Antler Project, along with
Taylor Plot.
this year's selected soon-to-be hunter. He's earned his stripe, earned the fact that he's responsible, professional, respectful, and knows enough medical that we've taught him in camp courses that I feel pretty comfortable. If I get hurt, he knows what to do. That's a big reason, all the reasons we're selecting Caleb. And it's like a cool guy. So we just finished up essentially full day one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what you remember.
Okay.
Starting from the classroom onto the range.
Okay. So,
Just topics.
topics?
Yeah.
We went over bullet drop of specific grain of the bullet that I'll be using. We went over specific ways of finding gear like bedding, tracks, food, water. Specifically water is very important. We went over wind and how important that is for setting up a tree stand. We went over wind trajectory in the sense of mountainous regions. Went over specific food types like white oak trees. Then when we were out of the classroom,
One more thing.
one more.
Winds and temperature.
Temperature. Okay, every morning, which you will generally be sitting by a field, every morning that cold air from the trees, when the hot air rises out of the field, the cold air goes under that and fills it up. But what happens is that traverses your scent from where you are in your tree stand. If you're not high enough, that will take your scent into the field and you'll lose any deer that are in that field right now.
Right. So that's called thermals. And essentially, to go a little more nerdy, if you have a field, circle field surrounded by trees, and the wind's supposed to be coming, very slowly this way, you'd want to face the field or bedding. But thermals, this is going to get sun first, so it's going to get warmer as this still stays cold. So what happens, hot air rises, the cool air is going to slowly get sucked out to rise up with the warm air, essentially bringing your scent towards your field where you're hunting. You know that pretty well. Okay. And the range, what did you learn on the range?
When we got to the range, we went over sighting in a weapon for the specific yardage that we'll be doing. We learned in the sense of shooting 3 rounds, making sure that you even all those up, and how you need to adjust the scope and the tips of the scope for right, left, up, or down. After that, we continued shooting, making sure I have practice and working on any flinch or hesitation before I shot. Worked on positioning it in my elbow, as well as distance shoulder, in my shoulder, not my elbow, but as well as distance from the scope to my face.
Right, not getting scoped, and first shot you took, the Q70 kicked pretty well. He did get, luckily, it just kissed his forehead. I was less lucky, I got a scar on my forehead from getting scoped like full throttle, so.
Oh yeah.
So we went ahead and adjusted the scope, rode it forward, had some problems with it, solved it, and what's next? What's your homework?
My homework. So I went through and found all the particular game lands that we'll be hunting at with the most gear and the best resources to do it. Next, I'll be narrowing that down to game lands in those specific counties.
Cool. And homework with your...
Then my gun is to practice dry fire, to work on flinch or hesitation for that. So I'll be practicing and making sure dry firing it with no weapon, no bullet in the weapon, making sure I have no flinch or any hesitation that I need to work on.
Cool. And a thing, just to rehash, you already talked about it, but there's something called your NRP, your natural respiratory pause, where, before you inhale, you have to finish your exhale. After you exhale, you have to inhale. So this pause, as you're taking a breath in, your chest is rising, things are moving. As you're exhaling, things are getting smaller. At the very middle of that pause is your natural respiratory pause. That's your best time to shoot. And when we go into like long range shooting, we're going to talk about pacing it, between heartbeats. Because at a long range, one heartbeat can throw you off, a couple inches at a distance. But we're not doing 1,000-yard shooting. So he's going to practice his dry firing. Pop quiz: what kind of gun should you not dry fire?
Any older antique guns.
Or a... Come on.
What am I missing? What gun is it?
Come on, man.
I just remember antique.
22.
22.
Right. So you can dry fire pretty much any handgun or rifle, depending on the age. Go and check with the manufacturer. But 22 the small bullets are rim fire. You don't want to dry fire with that. But 308, the 9mm, anything somewhat new, dry fire, dry fire, dry fire. It's a great way to practice.
Yep.
Cool.